with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. And this is our opportunity to share in our weekly Thursday show with you. We'll always have some interesting topics, and looking forward to get back to some basics. Been working with affirmative prayers and decrees, and as many of you know, I come on here and I have a full gamut of topical matters to bring to you. Everybody enjoys the meditations and the affirmative prayer treatments and the decrees, the affirmations themselves, the meditations. We talk about everything. So I'm on live. Let me get started. Today is January the 5th, 2017. So happy birthday to everybody who's having a birthday today on January the 5th. In fact, all of you who entered the sign of Capricorn even last month, or those of you who had the Sagittarian birthdays in December. Well as Capricorn in December and Capricorn right now, and when Aquarius comes in, happy birthday to all of you. As we begin to kick off this show right now with a prayer, we came on a little late. We had a slight technical issue, and it was myself. I was napping a little too long, and that's what happens. So we do everything we need to do to be well rested for the show. Anyway, through divine power and by divine grace, may all you who have an opportunity to listen to the show live today, and as well as in the archives later, those of you who have been supporting the show by watching it every Thursday or whenever you can, or come back to the show platform and watch it. All the programs are here for about 30 days in the system, but you can see them at any time thereafter. After every show, they're uploaded to my YouTube channel. So thank you for that, and may this show and today's contents bless you. Amen, and so shall it be, as it is. Well, what I'm going to do today is go briefly. It's about a 90-minute show. We're going to go briefly and lightly and nicely touch upon the universal year number significance for 2017. And what I'm also going to do is connect that into the personal year number cycles. So for all of you who have never had a chance to play around with basic numerology, just using your date of birth month, date, and year. In fact, I might even throw in a little bit about your destiny number, which some people refer to as a life path number. So I'm giving this so that you have some brief insight and tools. Many of you may know, and those of you that are listening for the first time, I've created 5 spiritual basic courses in PDF, and the Key to Life to Numerology is one of them. I'm also working on some new PDFs to add to that, so that we'll have at least 11 to 12. And all of these PDFs go for $27. If you'd like to find out how to get your PDF on the Key to Life is Numerology for just $27. We have white light meditation. We have the art of manifesting your heart's desires. We also have dream analysis, or understanding your dreams, and we have tarot basics 1, 2, 3. Each one of those are just $27. So it's like your own tutorial course at home. Once you pay for it, I email it out to you to your most convenient email address, and you have it there to study in the privacy of your own home. You can leave it on your computer as well as print it out. Once you see how many sheets there are, and just print it out, and therefore you can have it to work with every day with those particular topic matters. If you purchase all 5, rather than just pay individually $27 a piece, if you purchase all 5 of them at once, one time, pay for all 5 of them, you get a $17 discount, and therefore you get all 5 for $118. So there's numerous ways in which you could send in your payment, whether you want to send it out by snail mail, via check or money order drawn on U.S. funds, or if you happen to have a PayPal account, or if you would like to use your Square. I have a Square account now, a virtual Square account, and you can just call me up and give me your numbers, your digits for your debit or credit card, and information is taken that way and issue everything out right then and there for you. So there are different ways, or PayPal invoice, however you want to do it. Just get in touch with me if you have any questions about that. Just email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number 1 at the end, just like you see right behind me, at yahoo.com. Or email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. Once the transactions are completed, I send your PDF or PDFs through my Gmail account. So there you have it. And any questions or comments, you could leave them in my private inbox on Facebook if we're connected there, or you could send your questions by email. Alright, so we're going to get started here, and this is allowing me to share my expertise about numerology with you. What is numerology? Numerology. Well, numerology is the study of numbers and their hidden influence in your life. Numerology is the study of numbers and their hidden influences in your life. And so what we're looking at is the numbers represent a particular frequency, as we call, or vibrational effect in your life. Numbers are used to measure things, to identify things, events, people, places, situations, buildings, cars. And look at, when you have a driver's license, you're identified there by your driver's license number. You have a license plate, you're identified through that license plate that's connected to you, or that you wanted to have for your car. You also have the size of your tires. That is measured by numbers. The amount of gas, gallons of gas in your car, or diesel fluid, in your diesel-oriented motor vehicle. You also have the size of your car, the length and width of it, the weight of it. Everything is measured by numbers. Your checking account, your bank account, the number of money amounts that you have, the number of digits. So numerology is being utilized all the time by us, all the time. And we use it to measure time. The numerology, as far as I am concerned, is I see numerology as the shorthand of astrology. And that was a term that I coined back in 1979. I started studying numerology in 1974, and I started doing some correlations and reading tons of books back then, because that's what we do. We read books, you go to lectures, you listen to other people, you even sit down and allow someone to give you a chart. This is how you get involved and how you begin to learn how all of these things work hand in hand. And when I realized that the numbers are also related to planets, and planets that are ruling planets for each astrological sign, it made sense that when we're looking at numbers, the numbers have their correspondences. Each number has a planet that's connected to it, which is a ruling planet for a particular astrological sun sign. Each number, just like a planet or a sun sign, has corresponding suggestive information connected to crystals, colors, sound itself, that as in musical tones, okay, and so on. There are body parts, of course, just like in astrology. Once you know what the significant body part is connected to a planet, that is also attributed to its distinctive number, individual number. I've taught numerology now since 1970, officially since 1979, and I've gone deeper into the studies of it on my own, and I had acquired a lot of information because I was studying numerology as a hobby. I was studying numerology. I was also studying dreams in terms of dream analysis. I was also studying handwriting analysis in my earlier years. So those are my three definitive fields that I have been studying: numerology, dreams, understanding dreams, interpreting dreams, the various symbols and colors that you see, and then graphology, which I called handwriting against mind writing. And I used to give lectures back then on these three specific fields. And then in 1979, I started getting a feeling for the tarot. And then I used to work with regular playing cards, but I was more intrigued by the images in the tarot. So I started studying tarot. So I had four disciplines to work with. And I was at first going to study astrology, excuse me, but I must say I was lazy because I didn't want to do all of those mathematical calculations, adding, subtracting, and I mean it was basic, but still you had to have an ephemeris, you've had to have a couple other things in order to delineate properly where the placement of the planets would be inside of the astrological wheel, divided into 12 signs and 12 houses, and not everything lined up in the sign and the house at the same time. So at that time, to myself, it was mind-boggling. And back then, we didn't have computerized charts. You didn't have anything to figure it out. You had to do this thing, we call it back then hardcore. And a lot of my colleagues and students to this day, because I've been in the field 43 years now, people say that I'm still a hardcore numerologist, which means I do not use, and yes, I'm not swearing on anything, I'm just affirming it, I do not use any computerized programs to do my numerology charts. Now, excuse me, I have to drink a little bit of water. And the reason for that is this. If you were to get a computer, and there's nothing wrong with getting a computerized numerology chart or a computerized astrological chart, sometimes it saves time. But what you will notice is every now and then, since it's computer generated, you're going to see the same terminology, almost the same phrasing, same exact phrasing carried out throughout the analysis in the chart, especially when it gets down to the aspects and angles of planets. And as they begin to be repeated throughout, you're going to realize, okay, this is computer generated. So there's no individual, no person there who's really doing it. They're letting it being generated by the computer, which the computer has fed the program through the software in which to do it, through the information, and it spits it out. Well, when being, as I say, a more classical, traditional, hardcore numerologist, I'm the computer. I have the information here. The information is stored throughout my body. I do meditation on a person's date of birth, and many people have asked me, how is it that I don't need the time of birth? I don't need to have your place of birth in the world. All I need to have is the month, day, and year that you were born and your name. Now, classical numerologists will take your birth name, because the name you received at your birth to them is the most potent one, most powerful one, shows the potential of where you're headed in your life, what you're here to do. Now, excuse me, my take on this is that there are many systems of numerology out there, many systems, and you might say each culture has its own definitive way to interpret someone's information. So as I began to study, everybody studies what they call the modern Pythagorean method, which is using the numbers 1 through 9, which are more anglicized or more English spin on it. And since Pythagoras was Greek, there are a lot of things that are left out in the more modern Pythagorean alignment, which is just simplifying it a little bit more, easier to interpret. For instance, letters having double letters, meaning like CH letters had a value all to themselves, TH has a value to itself, PH has a value to itself. But a more modern, method is each letter. Now, in the modern Pythagorean system, we have the single digits, only the single digits 1 through 9, and then the master numbers, 2 double-digit master numbers, which are 11 and 22. So you have the 9 single digits, 1 through 9, right? So we go like this, 1 through 9, so you got 9 numbers, and then you've got 10 and 11. The 10th number is the master number 11, and the 11th number is the master number 22. Oh, and then if the number 33 popped up, that would give you 12. So there's 12 numbers being utilized, okay? 3 master numbers and 3 single digits. Now, 2 of those master numbers are within a calendar month. You know, everybody will see the number 11, and everybody will see the calendar date number 22. The 33 would be based on numbers being added up within your entire birth date or in your name or both together. So everybody is able to see those numbers. Then there's a system out of Ur, from the Babylonian region, and that was called the Chaldean system, Chaldean. Chaldea was a place also of great mysticism, great study, great magical arts. And being that Pythagoras himself had traveled into ancient Egypt and was able to stay a while and study with the great masters back in those days, he was given the keys, and then after him returning back to Greece was able to share what he had learned. Not that he didn't learn anything prior to being there, but he learned even more. So he was able to apply more. And those beautiful spiritual beings who lived in Chaldea, in the Babylonian region in the Pacific area called Ur, they had their system. And then there is a more modern system of the Chaldean system, only using the single digits 1 through 8, and the number 9 was considered the sacred number only because, following universal law and nature, a baby being carried by its mother normally was carrying a child for about 9 months and then giving the birth. So there's the number 9. And therefore, it became looked at as a sacred number, and things coming in cycles of 9. So 9 months, 9 days, 9 weeks, 9 years, and so forth. 9 specific periods that one could look at. And the other numbers 1 through 8, if you were writing them out, since we're using, this American English language, we write from left to right on the page. The 2 end numbers, the 2 extreme end numbers, the 1 and 8 added together produces a 9. The 2 and 7 added together produces 9. The 3 and 6 added together is a 9. The 4 and 5 added together is a 9. Okay, so you got 1 and 8. Okay, 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So you got 4 pairs of numbers that produce a 9 when added together. 9 is also considered a powerful number in itself in both systems when we would develop something called canceling nines. That means when you're adding up, let's say, numbers in a name, okay, or in a date of birth, you pick out all the numbers that add to 9 first. Add them together, of course, you're going to get the number 9, and then whatever number's left over, that specific number when added to the 9 gives you your answer. Or you just drop that 9 out. So for instance, if we saw a number that was, let's say, 306 27, if that was a number that we were looking at, 306 or 3627, automatically 3 and 6 is 9, 2 and 7 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. But you will always have an answer. You're either going to have an answer that is 1 through 9, you see. The 0 or cipher, C-I-P-H-E-R, cipher, another term for 0. 0 can be thought of as a still point or 0 point. 0 is like the potential of all numbers. 0 is the womb of numbers. Okay, it's the mother. It's an infinite quality, all unto itself, and all other numbers come out of it. Okay, so in essence, between 0 and 0 are all the other numbers. And if you are just doing simple math, simple math, no matter how many positions that you use, if you start with, as they say, whole numbers, that's numbers to the left of a decimal point, right? 1, 2, 3, you're staying in the units column. The units column will go from 0 to 9, okay? Then you have the tens column, which is the immediate column to the left of that number. That's the tens column because 1 plus 9 is 10, so you would have 1 in the second column to the left and 0 in the first column. And then that's the tens column. If you created a third column, that's the hundreds. You created a fourth, that's 1,000. And a fifth is what? 10,000. And so on, right? So the whole idea, though, is reduce the numbers to a single digit. This has been the core study of numerology. And some of the meanings for the single digit was called a root, R-O-O-T, root digit. Single digit, meaning one and the same. Root is the foundation in which the number comes out of. And another term that was used was called phatic, F-A-D-I-C, phatic. And phatic also means root. Okay, so looking at numbers, we want to look at what these numbers could represent at any given point for an individual who is studying the numbers, looking at the numbers, seeing how the numbers can be utilized in their own life. So as we start to study these numbers, every number has a place, let's say like on a rung of a ladder. And we're in 2017. And people have asked me during the week, how do they interpret this universal year? Can't we just call it 17? It's a 17 universal year. No. That's my view. The reason for that is because when you're looking at, since we're dealing is symbolically, we're still using numbers no matter what we're doing symbolically, right? Literally, when you're looking at the number, let's say you're born in 1969. Well, you can't say you're born in 69 because 69 in what century are you talking about? Are you talking about 1869, 1469, 1369? Which one are you talking about? So, and we know that the centuries give us an idea of what's going on. So those two digits to the left in your birth year, if you're putting a line right down the middle, Put a line right down the middle between the second number. Like if you're 19, right after the 9, you put a line, vertical line, and then you continue your birth year out. So if you're born in 1969, between the first 9 and the 6, you're going to split, not the end 9. Okay, you're splitting the 9 and the 6. Now you draw a line underneath. Now when you're looking at this, what do you see? Well, the 19, characteristically, that 19 in the position that it sits in for the birth year is a constant value. A constant value. And again, you can call it anything you want to call it. When I was teaching numerology, I called it that because the value of 19, when added together, 1 plus 9 was 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So the 1900s, from 1900 to 1999, the constant value of influence is a 1 vibration. Now what's to the right of that vertical line begins to describe what's going on. So if we could see that, it's describing what's going on during that time. So in the 69th year of the century, 1900, now you'll have a more definitive picture than what you had before. Have a more definitive picture because you're talking about the 1900s and you're talking about the 69th year. Now, if you were born in 1969, you can ask any siblings, neighbors, anybody who was older than you, what do they remember about 1969? What do they remember about when you were conceived in 1968? Or the earlier part of 69, depending on when you were birthed up out of your mother's womb. So, you need to have the constant value because the constant value is descriptive of what's going around, the foundation for your birth year, not the other way around. This method of cutting out the constant value started coming up more so when people started coming toward the 2012 time frame. No one was really doing that in the beginning. People were leaving the 19 value in there, even when they got the 1999. Now, when they got the 1999, they said, "Oh, that's the master number." Well, there's a master number in every century. There are master numbers, and they are the same master digits. So to the right column, the master numbers would fall in as double zeros, then the 11, the 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, and then 99. So you automatically start having these numbers from 0 to 9. So there's actually 10 master numbers, not 9. 10 master numbers, and they're the same throughout any year, century that you're picking. It's just the energy is slightly different. So I bring this out because people just need to know that if you are, let's say, wanted to analyze a child's chart, the child's birthday, you'd be shortchanging the child by not putting in the 4 digits for the birth year. The same that you could not say, the way we are using the present calendar system, we have the month of March is 3. The January we're using to represent 1. February we're using to represent 2. Alright, now 1, 2, and 3. Where do you see 1, 2, and 3 when you look at the last 3 months of this current calendar year system that we use. So we're looking at the 10th month, the 11th month, and then the 12th month. So if we go backwards, we have December is 12th month, the 11th month we were using to be November, and the 10th month we're using to be October. Now, but here's another thing that's thrown into it, okay? When you start looking at the numbers or the parts of the month, like OCT is 8. Nov, like when people are in the Catholic Church, they practice the novenas, right? A novena is a 9-day prayer. So NOV means 9. And then DEC, D-E-C, means 10. So if you got 9, 8, 9, and 10, what are the other 3 in front of it? Well, you got August, Aug. Now in music, an augmented chord was a chord that had what they call a 6th note added to it. Instead of 5 notes, you can pull off 6 notes, right, to create a specific chord that you wanted to create. So it was called an augmented chord. And so that meant there was 6 notes being involved specifically. So August is the 6th month. September, sept, is right there. Sept, like septagon, septagram. Okay, so sept, S-E-P-T, was the 7th month. So you see, you can go all the way back a little bit. Everything having its meaning, representing something, and we can see then these calendar systems had mishmashes, just things thrown in and kind of mixed together that basically would throw you off a little bit. So I just bring that up so as a filler, so you can kind of understand that there are different ways of organizing your thoughts through numbers. And the more research you want to do, the more you could come up with all kind of combinations. This is why I tell people, I can now tell people, like I've been saying for the last 10 of my 43 years, they ask me which system is the best. Do I use the Pythagorean system or do I use the Chaldean system? It's a matter of preference. Like when you're out driving on the road, are you driving a Jeep, a 6-cylinder car, 6-cylinder sedan, 8-cylinder sedan, 4-cylinder car? Are you driving a Hummer, a sports utility vehicle, or a van? Or maybe you're in a big 18-wheeler truck, or you driving a tractor trailer or a lawnmower. You got to figure out which one serves your purpose best for you. So it is the same in numerology. There was even a Celtic system of numerology I found 30 years ago. I don't even have that around anymore, but they would use the numbers starting with 0. Instead of 1 through 9, 0 through 9, because 0 was considered like the womb. Okay, so there's so many ways. I always tell my students and other practitioners, you have to find the system that works best for you, even if it means that once you understand all the preliminary parts, then you can create a method, you can create a style that allows you to analyze these different expressions in a person's life. So, what about 2017? 20 is the constant value. What do we know about the number 20? Well, we're looking at 20. 20 has its numbers that it governs as well. This millennium 2000 has its set of numbers that it governs as well. So if I threw out like 22, 28, I always got to say 20, then the single digit, right? 22, 23, 21, see? So 20 is that root compound number that's sitting in there, and it's a constant value. It's a number that I've found over the years when it started being more observant of people who had this number 20 value in their life, be it a calendar day that they're born on, it showed that they were able to work with transitional periods. That means if they lost the job, lost the job, got laid off, they could transition into something else because they had another skill. That's why. They had another ability, another talent that they could use right away. Or maybe they still have the job, but now they can acquire other skills along the way and employ them. So something as simple as we generalize it, a person who's an artist. Well, what kind of artist is that person? Some artists we might consider, or the artists themselves may not say, well, I'm not good at drawing, but I'm good at sculpting. I sculpt wood. Or I have the proper tools that not only sculpt wood, I could create sculptures from metal. I've got the kilns, KILNS, which are the ovens. I could heat things up. Or I do pottery. Or I have a hammer, a rubber hammer, a regular straight hammer, or the one with the rounded end. And they will hammer in to pieces of metal to create their art. Or perhaps the person was an oil painter or a watercolorist, or my medium is acrylic. Maybe the person is an artist, works well with pastels, and is a master pastel painter, as they call them. That means they work with the pastels so well, in such detail of shading and lines and everything, and tones, complexion tones, that you'd get close to it and you'd think it was a painting, but it was all done in pastel. Then there's those who spray paint, right? Those who do murals, those who do portraits. So 20 represents an individual who's quite expansive. The individual who's quite expansive also is an interesting kind of trailblazer. This is somebody who doesn't mind being out front, or who doesn't mind working behind the scenes. So when you see a person born in the year 2000 to 2999, what you're noticing is that everybody born during that time has the ability to work with transitional stages. That means if there's a change that goes on in their life, they can handle it. They can adapt to it. According to people who study astrology, a planet that represents that is Pluto in our Milky Way system. Pluto symbolizes someone who can handle masses of information, in-depth information, categorize it in detail, and yet take one little minute part and expand that. A name of a style of art is called abstract. Abstract is from. It means it being connected to the father or the original. And stract, as an extract, abstract, you're pulling out a piece, one piece, and what? You're blowing that piece up to create a whole nother piece of artwork. So those who are born under the number 20, or the 20 impacting them here for 27, everybody is going to develop that skill. Everybody's going to be a better artist, a better musician, you see, during this time. Now we have the number 17. So I remember if you drew a T-bar, right, or like a Latin cross, put the 20 to the left of the bar, vertical bar, and the 17. Now where does that 17 come in at? Well, 17, if you took the 7 out and put a 0 there, 17 is in the arena of the 10, the compound number 10. So 10 through 19, the 7 numbers there, or 10 numbers, 0 through 9, here he's got the 17. The 17 quality, all by itself, has what I've noticed over the years is the 17 personality, the 17 quality. People who have that number around them, they know a lot of people. Hordes of people. They attract friends from every walk of life. These are the 17s. They attract people from every walk of life, and people will not remember, people will remember those who are born on the 17th of a Pacific calendar month or within a year. So children who are born in 2017, they're going to be well known. They might be well-known government or military officials. They might be well-known entertainers, teachers, professors, nurses, doctors, lawyers, CPAs. They're going to be the best in their class. That goes for the same as those who are graduating from grade school or middle school or high school, or those who are getting out of college and universities, class of 2017. These are the ones who are going to make a great impact on the world, just like those who graduated 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, making great strides. We'll be looking at the number 2017, universally speaking. Here's where we get to play with the number 9. If you subtract 9 from the 17, you have an 8. So 9 years ago, we get to see a similar vibration, 2008. Take yourself back and just think, what was history like around you? What was your life like around you in 2008? Anything significant happened around you in 2008? President Obama was first term elected, 2008. Well, if you subtract 9 from 2008, taking yourself back further, it should take you to what? 1999. 1999 is a 1 universal year. See all the 9s? All the 9s, 3 9s is 27, plus the 1 that you see there gives you 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So is there anything that you can remember that was significant for you in 1999, or significant in the world, since we're looking at a universal year of the 1? 1 symbolizes new horizons, new vistas, new beginnings. This is a time where overall people have an opportunity to start out fresh or work from a higher plateau of the 1. This is important. Working from a higher plateau of the 1, but the 17 is there inside of the millennium 2000. So we see the constant value of the 20, that constant value of the 20 feeding us insight about transition, transformation, regeneration. This is all what this entire millennium is about. Regeneration, generation, rebirth, transformation, moving on to higher, creating higher opportunities, creating higher standards. Then we got the 17. The 17 says you're going to do it so well that you become renowned at what you're doing. Your name shall be spoken. See, that's what happens under the 17th year of 2000, of this millennium. So the 17 means you will be well known by your peers, by your family, by your friends, by your competitors, by your team. You become well known. Those who work well or work smart during this 17th year inside of this Millennium 2000 have an opportunity to get their name out front and get to be known. But how can you do that? Then you got to just use some of the most simplest basic methods. Be on time if you can. Be on time. Be punctual. Be prepared. Know your information. Know your field inside and out, as we say. Be able to field questions and not feel nervous. So you're showing levels of expertise during this 17th year of 2000 millennium. Becoming well known. 17, though, has a quality sort of like an Aquarian vibration. So, Aquarians march to the rhythm, as they say, of their own drum. They are good at what they do, but they choose to be different. So people connected to Aquarius have this ability to operate outside the box. They're different. They can follow rules and regulations. They can follow authority figures and what they say, but they're always thinking how they could go around the norm, what's considered basic, what's considered rigid. So 17s, they strive for freedom. Now, what makes the 17 personality in this 2017 year do that? Look at the numbers. The root compound number for 17 is a 10. 10 is a number that's expansive all to itself. It is the number 1 10 times. Great. Or greater, I should say. So there's a lot of power we see there, right? There's a lot of power now attributed to the 17. Its underlying energy foundation is a 10. So that means the person has the ability to look at their natural talents that they were born with, their natural gifts, their natural attributes. And now they start looking at them and they begin to figure out which is the most significant one to them, which has priority, right? You could have 8 or 9 different talents, but can all of them be utilized at this moment? Which one do you have to hone in on? You have to make it a skill. So you look at it and it's a priority. You prioritize your life. You see what's the most important thing to work on. This is that vibration of the 10. And then from that point, you start developing that particular priority. Now it becomes your skill base. You went from gift and talent to now skill base. And once you work the skill, meaning you know it inside and out, know it blindfolded, as they say, now you see how you can present it. Take your natural ability, which is now a skill, and present it to the world. How are you going to utilize it in the world? To help others, serve others, and to serve yourself so that you can attract the best of the best to yourself. So that's the underlying theme of the 17. However, we see the single digit 1 there, and I just described the 10, but we see the 7 there. Now the 7 is the dreamer, or the visionary. The 7 can either fantasize or get caught up in a fantasy. The 7 is scientific minded, but yet involved in the mystical element of life. The mysteries, that's where mysteries and mystical come together. This is one who has a great deal of sagacity, wisdom. They have a great deal of understanding. They could see an overview. They could capture the whole picture and delineate it down into one special item. And that one item fits all. That's like putting on a glove or a hat. One size fits all. It stretches. Okay? But 7 can be the loner. So 7s can be a trailblazer. They can isolate themselves. They can become almost like very much reclusive unto themselves. They share that with the number 8 person as well. So in this year, 2017, and that 17 is Aquarian nature, 1 plus 7 produces 8, which is like a Saturn influence, which is like Capricorn influence. So 2017 is good for who? It's good for Capricorns and Aquarians. So if you add the numbers up, 20 plus 17 is the number 37. Here's another root compound number, 30 out of 37. So 30 is the ability to contemplate, to think deeply on a particular path that you want to go into. This is what you're doing in this year. You're going into a brand new path, so you got to go deeper now. In order to go up the ladder, in order to expand your life, you've got to go deeper inside of yourself. That's what this year is all about. This is the think tank year, yet it's the year of being in the think tank, but being willing to what? Be progressive and move forward. So that 30, we say 30, you hear me say 3. 3 is creativity. 3 can be communication. 3 is also self-discipline, self-motivation, creative self-expression. Express thyself with what? By the written or the spoken word. Or you've got artistic talent. You can paint, you can draw, you can sketch. Maybe you play a musical instrument and you play it well. You've got the discipline, so you play it well. Maybe you play more than one instrument. Maybe not only can you play the instrument, but you can write the music. That makes you the composer. You compose music. Okay, not only can you compose music, you can arrange it for others to perform it. Be there singers, bass, alto, soprano, contralto, right? Tenor. They can sing your music. Saxophone, trumpets, flutes, oboes, clarinets, trombones, cornets, piano, harps, drums, cellos, violins. You are creating. You are a creator. You are creating with the word, with your mind, with your hands. But now you have that 7 there, because it's 37. And the 7 is that spiritual quality that you bring into the picture. So you go deep inside yourself, but you have to retreat inside yourself. So universally speaking, everybody is in deep contemplation. Everybody is going inside of themselves and discovering their expertises. Either you're awakening to them or you're reawakening to them. In other words, you're giving them birth again in your life. This is very significant. This is very powerful to do. Well, people say, well, what if I've done that already? Well, maybe your personal year cycle is different than your universal year cycle that everybody's going through. Or maybe your personal year cycle is the same as the universal year. And if it is, then it just intensifies it. So that means you have to work, I say, extra hard. You got to study extra hard. You got to analyze things deeply. Or maybe you got to take a step back, take a deep breath and look at it from a different angle. 37. 3 plus 7 is 10. There's that 10. Again, expansive, right? Looking at your natural gifts, what you're gifted with to do, what your talent is, which one of those talents you want to bring out to the forefront, which one of those talents now becomes a skill set that you develop, and then take it into the world and express it. Okay, so that's all in the 37, which is the 10, right? And 10 has that 0 as a root down there, emphatic number possibly, but 1 plus 0 is 1. So in this one universal year, and I said that 17 is going to draw into the picture Aquarius and Capricorn. And what I didn't tell you was 20, which is Pluto, Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. So Mars and Pluto share something together. Two astrological signs, Scorpio and Aries. So in 2017, this will be a good time for those who are born under the sun sign of Aries and Scorpio, Capricorn and Aquarius. Now, what is the other most significant number? Because 2017, as we just now found out, adds to a 1. 1 has always been attributed to the king of the jungle, the queen of the jungle, the animal called the lion. The sun, ruler, is the rulership star for Leo. Everything revolves around that one vibration. You see, everything comes out of the one, goes back to the one. One is used to add on to other numbers, right? 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And get to 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 1 to the 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So here that brings Leo. So now we got 5 signs, 5 universal signs, sun signs that can capitalize on this one universal year. But what it actually means for everybody, if you have a rising sign, or meaning your ascendant in these signs, if you have an ascendant in Leo, Aquarius, Capricorn, Aries, and Scorpio, you got to hit the gate. You got to be out and running. You got to be in your element. You got to be pushing yourself forward. If you have a one number like that, or any one of those signs connected to you, maybe your moon sign is in one of those signs. So the universal 1 year is, during the universal 1, you get a chance to explore new ideas. Take a look at what's going on around you. Is there a new medium for you to express yourself in? This is what's going on to the 1. Maybe you started a business 2 years ago. Now you get a chance to see if you can solidify that business. That's something you would have to know. See, if you started a business 2 years ago, so that would put you where? 2 years ago, from 2017, that would put you in 2015 in a universal 8 year. If you started a business back then, and now you should see it begin to shine, because you had to give yourself a year or two to see it shine. In other words, you wanted to see if you could do something with it before you canned it. If it didn't work for you, then you may have to change it around. But if you didn't have to change it around, you saw that you noticed something. So what happened? If you started a business in 2015, that represented a monetary time frame for you to get something rolling. So it could have been, maybe you needed to find some what they call angel investors. You needed to start a business, or you had to go to the bank and get a loan, or maybe you got some credit cards to give yourself some money to work with. But banking on the fact that your business was going to generate capital, so you can pay them credit cards, right? So, or pay back loans, okay? Or maybe you were able to secure a grant, a business grant. So you did what you had to do to get everything together in this 2 year stretch. But now you're in the universal 1. So it means not to give up. It means to move forward. 2017, move forward. This is a 1 universal year. This is an excellent time to be in a building stage. Try out some new plans. Maybe you own like not a franchise, but you have a small business. Maybe you are a fashion designer. Maybe you decided you're going to come up with a new fashion design that's going to take the world by storm, as they say. Or you are an inventor. This is your year. Or you are a writer. This is the time to write more, produce more work, right? To get a book out. If you were working on your book in 2015 and 2016, then it was your goal to get it done 2016 and then market it big in 2017. Okay, so this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to market yourself. You wanted to brand yourself, as they say. Branding is placing yourself out in many different ways so people could see you, to be visible. 2017 or 1. So first and foremost, Leos can capitalize. If you're under the sign of Leo, stay in the spotlight. If you're under the sign of Leo, if you can, stay in the spotlight. Now, we see behind there was Capricorn and Aquarius merging into the spotlight during this time. If you were born in Aries and Scorpio, come out of the shadows and merge in. Present yourself, place yourself onto a platform. In other words, come to the table with skills. Universal 2017. Now, the number 1 out of there attracts other numbers. It attracts a 4, which is Aquarius. It attracts a 2, which is Cancer, which is the moon. 4 is Uranus that rules Aquarius. 2 is the moon that rules Cancer. And 7 is Neptune that rules Pisces. So that's a whole lot of people there. The only ones I didn't mention was Virgo and Gemini, Sagittarius, Taurus, and Libra. 5 signs I didn't mention. Already gave you 3 more signs in here. So 7 are out front, but the other 5 are behind the scenes. You see what I'm doing here? The other 5 are working behind the scenes. That means the other 5 will have an opportunity to come to the forefront very soon, even within this year. So how do we find out now? If we already know that 2017, if we already know that 2017 is a one universal year, how do we look at the months? All you got to do is take the 1. You don't have to take any of the other compound numbers unless you so choose. You take the 1 and add it to each one of the month numbers. So under this current calendar system, we're using the numbers are January is the first month, February is the second month, March is the third, April's the 4th, May is the 5th, June is the 6th, July is the 7th, August is being looked at as the 8th, okay, September the 9th, October the 10th, November the 11th, December the 12th month. So that means months 10, 11, and 12, you will reduce them to 1, 2, and 3. You see, we can be able to get the information. So universally speaking, the month of January is a 2 universal month. So what could happen in a general sense that we're looking at it in a 2 universal month? This is a good time for all forms of partnerships, be it at home if you're married or you're thinking about getting married, okay, or you know how you relate to your children, how do you relate to your siblings, how do you relate to things that you possess like money, cars, property. All that's coming under the 2 value. But on a bigger scale, the 2 partnership is how you relate with the divine within you. So these are different expressions now. During this 2017 year, the month of January is a 1 universal month. These are 2. See how the numbers are? Because I'm hardcore, old school. See, so I'm not even working out on a paper, but January being the first month gets the number universal 1 added to it, and it becomes a 2. So it's everything in the month of January is dealing with partnerships, right? Balance, harmony, dealing with details in your life. So what are you detailing in your life? What things are you looking at? Maybe you're detailing out meticulously going over tax information, insurance policies, your banking statements. If you're running a business, you're looking at all your expenses, your profits, losses, and gains. So this is all you would be doing. See, you're calculating. See, 2 can deal with math, you see. So you're working on that. But 2 can be cold-hearted. So who's in your life that's being cold-hearted? Who's not warming up to you? Or is there somebody you are not warming up to? Okay, or maybe someone is being a little too picky. Do you have to be the peacemaker at home, or a peacemaker or mediator on your job? Maybe you're a mediator at being like a union rep. Okay, maybe you're working with some attorneys, or maybe you're dealing with holistic or Western medicine. That comes under the element of 2. I said 2 is water element, lunar element, water element. 1 is fire element, solar element, you see. So the universal 1 year is having the fire energy and determination, but in the month of January, you're not going to knock the bottom out. You're just going to pay attention to how you feel about that energy. I hope you're having fun with this. Now, I said I wanted to briefly touch. Now, this is just an example. See, if I just told you that January is a 2 universal month, then what would be February? Add the 1 universal number to February, which in the system going across is the 2nd month. So February would be a 3 universal month. Creativity. What if we were looking at August? In this calendar system, August is given the number 8, 8th month in line. 1 universal year added to the 8 gives you what? 9. A 9 universal month. That means something has to come to a close. Now here's something too to throw into the mix. Since August was going to be the 9, then September would be the 1. Okay, the 1 universal. And then October would become what? The 2 universal month. Now, hear this. If October is going to be a 2 universal month, it's hinting at what transpires during October on a universal scale, is kind of hinting at how the following year, 2018, becomes a 2 universal year. So you look at what's going on in October as a 2 universal month, you kind of get a glimpse of how you might want to lay something out during a 2 universal year, which is 2018. If you subtract 9, you take you back to 2009. What were you doing in the universal 2 year of 2009? Or what were you doing in the year 2000, the beginning of the millennium, which was a universal 2 year? So this different ways. Now, we've been on about an hour, so I know I have to touch upon, for the next half hour, I want to touch upon just some samples here for you to look at personal year cycles and how you go about finding the personal year cycle. Before I do that, let me digress and have a little bit of water. Now, one of the things you want to be aware of that you could look at here is numbers. Again, is like a measuring tool. You have a ruler, and everything can be utilized to set a vibration or a tone into motion. We do it through numbers. We're looking at numbers all the time. I look at my laptop here, and I got a keypad that has numbers across the top, and then I got numbers if I wanted to use it sort of like a calculator. So I have numbers to the right, okay? Then I have letters here. I have every letter of the alphabet, and this is what they call a QWERTY board, right? Your QWERTY board here gives you the QWERTY, and each one of those have a value. So when you're using numerology, you sort of have to play with what? The values. You have to decide which system are you going to use, the Chaldean system or the Pythagorean. I always tell my students, and I always teach them the Pythagorean because it's the easiest. We got 3 rows of horizontal alphabets. Okay, so across the top we write out our numbers 1 through 9, giving a space between the numbers. Then we draw a horizontal line across from left to right or right to left. And then we start to place the letters accordingly from left to right until we use all the letters from A to Z. So when you look at that system that way, the Z becomes for you, the Z becomes a 8 value. Z is an 8 value. And if you were looking at other letters, you would notice then you're going to see perhaps like the letter Q could be 8. So just to give you a hint, take a sheet of paper, draw a horizontal line on the top of the line, or maybe you have a notepad with lines. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then underneath the number 1, start with the letter A, and then write the letters out going across. The 9th letter is going to be the letter I. This is in the Pythagorean, modern Pythagorean alphabet of numerology. Okay, the letter I. So what comes after the letter I? If it was E, F, G, H, I, you start with J. You bring the J back because J is the 10th letter, and the J falls underneath the value of 1. And now you write the letters across, starting with J, so that the 18th value is going to be what? The letter R. So the next letter S, you start back as 1, okay? If the 18th letter is R, the 19th letter, which is S, goes under the column 1. So under the values of 1 are the letter A, J, and S. Under the values of 2, the value of 2 is what? B, K, and T. So that means the value that you're going to see there, you're going to see it all right there. Everything broken down to a single digit. Now the Chaldean system was different. I have to even look at my chart. I used to have all of this stuff memorized like a computer. My sister-in-law used to say, "What time is it?" That was the joke. You know, I was in it so much that I would say, "Oh, it's the day's date is 3/16. That's the one." You know, I used to look at letters and just add them up. So now if you were doing a Chaldean system using numbers 1 through 8, write the numbers out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to give you, so that you would have this in advance, I'm going to give you the values. Excuse me, I'm going to give you the values for each one of these letters. Now, one of the things you want to realize is that, excuse me, a little dryness in my throat here. The letters A, B, C, D, and E are similar in the Pythagorean. So, under the number 1, write the letter A. Under the number 2, the letter B. Under the letter 3, write the letter C. Under the value 4, write D, as in David. And under the number 5, write E. Now 6, 7, and 8 switch up. Under the 6, write the letter U. Under the 6, in the Chaldean system, the letter U is valued at 6. Under the 7, O gets the value of 7, O. Under the number 8 is the letter F. So you're going to have A, B, C, D, E, U, O, F. That's going right underneath from left to right under 1 all the way to 8. Now, the second horizontal line. Under the letter A, write J. Under the letter B, write K. Under the letter C, under 3, you see, C, under that is the letter G, as in Gary. Under the letter D, what I want you to do is leave a space, okay? You can actually move it up, but best leave a space. Under the number 5, you already have the letter E. Underneath that E, write H, the letter H. Now I said that, values shifted at 6, 7, and 8. So under the U, you could place here V. Under the 7, which is under the O, place the letter Z. Under the 8, which is under the letter F, place the letter P. Now I realize maybe I made something complicated for you. So under the letter D, directly under the letter D, after the G, before the H, place the letter M. When you look at this, I don't want you to have too many open spaces. Okay? So you'll have on that second horizontal line from left to right, you will have J, K, G, M, as in Mary, don't leave the space, have it M, H, V like Victor, Z like Zorro, P like Paul. Now let's go to the third horizontal line. Now the third horizontal line, you're only going to put letters going across here. And I realize here, misreading my numbers and letters, the letter under the A will be, the letter under the A will be I. Letter under A will be I, okay? So, instead of JKG, it will be IKG, M, H, V, Z, and P. Now, in the third horizontal line, you will have the letters J under the I, under the 1, R under the 2, L under 3, the letter T under 4, under the 5, where you have the E and the H, under the H you will have N, like now, and under the U and the V, you'll put W. You'll put the W there. And then the next line, you're going to have Q under the J. Now you'll have a space. There's nothing there to go under R. The next letter is S, which gets the value. S gets the value of 3, just like letters C, G, and L. There's another space. And then the next letter is X, which gets the value of 5. So under the 5 column, you will have E, H, N, and X. So so far, now we have one more letter, and that's the letter Y. And Y falls under the value of 1. So the vertical column now for 1 will be A, I, J, Q, and Y. Under the value of 2 will be B, K, and R. Under the value 3 will be C, G, L, and S. Under the value of 4 will be D, M, T. Under the value of 5 will be E, H, N, and X. Under the value of 6 will be U, V, and W. Under the 7 will be O and Z. And under the 8, F and P. Now, we have, all the all of the letters are there. They just arranged differently. Now this is harder to remember, so I always keep a chart out. Even after 43 years, I always keep a chart out so I can see what I have that's going on. And it's important for us to have these charts available so you can see what we have going on. Now, one of the things we have here that's happening is this. You can use either system. You have to find the one that you feel comfortable with. The reason why that I started using the Chaldean system of numerology is because I noticed that the same values that I found, sum total values that I found in certain parts of the name, like what all the vowels added to, what the first name of a person with the consonants and vowels together, what that added to, what the entire name added to. It seemed to bring up the same numbers that were in someone's date of birth. So if a person had birth key numbers, which my friend Lloyd Strayhorn kind of developed back in the late 1979 or 78, even before then. He was an astrologer. He's still around. He came up with something called birth key numbers. And the birth key numbers were based on an individual's quality of the numerical day that they were born on. So say a person is born October the 8th, okay? So the lead number, characteristic number, was the day that number that they were born on, the 8th. Then the sun sign of Libra gets Venus, and Venus was attributed to the value of 6. So we had two numbers, 8 and 6, two birth key numbers, and a third one, and this is through his own efforts, trial and error. He noted that a good quality for the 8 and 6 was a 3. So the birth key numbers were 8, 6, and 3. And by putting that together, he did research. What he did by showing the birth key numbers is that he could tell if, especially with families, whole families, mother and father and the children, and he could look at the birth key numbers, and he can tell which of the children had traits like the mother and father, which one of the parents. Or he can tell of whole families how they operated together. He could say that he could see like maybe the father's numbers were out of sync with the rest of the family because the children and the mother shared similar birth key numbers, or vice versa. So he was able to do that, and it became a very unique thing, and he's used it over the years. Lloyd is a excellent master. I call him like the grand master of numerology, and he's an astro-numerologist. He was an astrologer first, then a numerologist. So he still does astrological charts, but he does numerology charts, and he has the working knowledge of both. In fact, he was so good with the numbers back in when he was on WLIB 1190 AM radio. One of his clients was a computer programmer, and the computer programmer made a numerology software for him to use, which is very unique. He could type it all in, and it would give him the information. So he would be on air broadcasting, and he could type in the information on his laptop and give you the information right there, because it was set up in a distinctive software just for him. So these things are very, very unique to use. So I'm just going to hint about this a little bit before I get off the air. We're about 6:40 p.m. When you need to find what we call the personal year number, the way that you find, excuse me, I have a little sinus here. The weather been shifting back and forth immensely, and I'm detoxing at the same time. All you do is in a vertical line, you're going to use that same format. Instead of using the horizontal line at the top with a vertical line, you can actually use a vertical line, and it's like an inverted T-bar. Okay, so create a vertical line. On the right side of the line, write your number of the month that you're born in. So if you're born in months from January to September, then all of your numbers for the month will be on the right side. If you were born in the 10th, 11th, and the 12th month, which is October, November, and then December, your two numbers are going to get split. So the 1 will be to the left, the 0 to the right. If you're in November, the two 1s are split. If you're in December, the 1 and 2 is split. Okay? Now, this helps you add better, you see. Now you have to put in the date, the calendar day number that you're born on. So let's say, all intents and purposes, for all intents and purposes here, that you were born on October the 8th. Say you're born October the 8th. Okay, so I can say you draw that vertical line, then you're going to have somewhere toward the bottom of the line with a little space there, a horizontal line, and you're going to write in 10 for October. Under the 0, you're going to write 8. Now, as I say, we have the line split vertical, right? We're going to pick a birth year. Let's say you're looking at someone born in 1949. So to the right, to the right of the column, you're going to put the 49. Okay, so now you got to leave a little room. So you're going to have the 49, the 4 split by the 9 roughly here, and then you're going to have the 19. You got to do it this way so that you can line up all the numbers in the units columns first. So 0 and 8 is 8, plus 9 will give you 17, right? Now you have the 1 lined up over the 4, you see. So 1 plus 4 is what? Is 5, but you had gotten the number 17, so you carried that 1, 5, it became a 6, right? And you still have the 19. So now you can correct this year 1967. You have 19 with a line between the 9 and the 6. So you'll have 1967. 1967 became the year of the person's destiny. That means something happened for them since they were born in 1949. At age 18, something of significance happened for this person who was born on October the 8th, 1949. Something happened significantly that they would have to look at around age 18. The destiny year, 1967, you can now add it up. 10 is out of the 19, and 67 produces a 13. So that's 10 plus 13 gives you 23. That's the compound number. 2 plus 3 is 5. Now, that's how you get, if you're trying to find out, let's say right now, looking at their life path number. But what you really need here to do the personal year is you take the 10th month and the 8th day. 10th month and the 8th day. That means you have the birth month is the 10th month, which you know here is October, and they're born on the 8th day in that month. So that's the birth date number, okay? Those are the two numbers that you need. Now, in order to find what this person who was born or anybody, let's say, at this point, anybody in the world born on the 10th month, the 8th day, they want to find out what their personal year number will be in 2017. You take the 10, under the 0, the 8, and now, you write out 2017. So you want the 1 under the 1, the 8 under the 7. Now what you have to know about this is very important. You see, their birthday would come up as October the 8th in 2017. So that's going to tell you that their personal year vibration doesn't start until the day of their birthday in this year. That's what you have to keep in mind. So let's add them up. 8 and 7 is 15. Carry over the 1. 3 ones are 8, right? Then, 3 ones are 3. Moving ahead of myself. And then you bring the 20 down. So here, very significant for this person, something very significant can also happen for them in 2035 if they're still on the planet. Okay? Which is also, you see, similar to 2017. So 2035 is going to be a universal 1. If that person makes it around that time, that something significant can take place for them. Now when you add it together, we already get this. This is 20 and 35 gives us 55, which is a 10. I got a master number there, which adds to 1. So their personal year cycle doesn't begin to their birthday. So their personal year cycle in October the 8th, 2017, all the way up to October the 7th, 2018, for them will be 55, which is a 10, which it reduces to a 1. So this tells you, though, what? If it doesn't start until then, what cycle are they in now? They're in a 9. They're in a 9 personal year from last year's birthday. So that means from October the 8th, 2016, all the way to October the 7th, 2017, they are in a 9 personal year. So they're in that 9 personal year right now under the universal 1. They were in a 9 personal year under the universal year 2016, you see. So things were probably a little bit more intense at that point from the 8th of October all the way through the end of the year. And now the person is still in the 9 personal year cycle. Still in the 9 personal year cycle all the way up until the 7th of October in this year 2017. But now that you know that the person is in a 9 personal year already, you can still find out that happens that January, right? January, if you're looking at the months January, February, March, right? April, May, June, July, August, September, and then when you get to October, it's actually October the 1st through the 7th. Then their new personal year of the 1 starts on October the 8th, and in that month their personal month number is going to be different. Then you put them in November and then December and so forth. So each one of these months gets a number, right? So January got a 1. They're in the 9. You add it. Excuse me. In that throat again. January of this year is a 1 personal month for that person. It's because they're in a 9, already a 9 personal year. So whatever the month numbers are, that's what it is for them. So February will be a 2 personal month, March will be a 3, April will be a 4, May will be a 5, June will be a 6 personal month, July will be a 7 personal month, August will be an 8 personal month, September will be a 9, and the first 7 days of October will be a 1 personal month. When they go into the 1 personal year on their birthday, October the 8th, 2017, when they go into that, then the rest of the month, October the 8th to the 31st, becomes what? a 2 personal month. November then, okay, becomes a 3, because now they're in the 1 personal year down here. The personal year from this point on is a 1 on October the 8th, right? So the 11th month, which is 2 plus 1 is 3, and then December is going to give them a 4 personal month. When they kick back around in January, January being that first month to kick off under the 1 personal year, the month of January then becomes a 2. You see? So let's say for this individual, they're in the 9 universal year. So 9 personal year for themselves. So it's all about completion. Trying to tidy up, unfinished business, old projects. Maybe sifting through their social circles or social media circles, or changing them a little bit. That's what the person had to do during this 9. And again, this 9 is riding with them all the way up until the day before their birthday in 2017. So they're cleaning house. However, things get clear for them because January becomes what? A 1 personal month. So they get to have a fresh start. Even under the 9 personal year, this person born October the 8th, under the 9 personal year from last year, this whole calendar month is giving them a brand fresh new start. And whatever they're experiencing, they're going to see some highlights of it again come September, because they're in the 9 personal year, and September is a 9 personal month, right? October takes on that 1 personal month in the beginning from October the 1st through the 7th. Then on their birthday, October the 8th, it shifts into a 1 universal year. So what they've seen the first 6 to 7 days, October 1st through the 7th, will be a glimpse at their personal year number 1, which begins on October the 8th, which then now makes this vibration here roll itself all the way out. From October the 8th to the 31st of 2017, that whole part of the month is a 2 personal month for them under the 1 personal year vibration. And that's how you do it. I tried to give you a simpler format. I know this is a sort of like a crash course, but when you get to work with numbers, you get to, like an astrologer, you start to have a lot of fun with it. So thank you for being here. What you want to do, if you got any questions for me in this quick course, or maybe you want to buy the numerology PDF called The Key to Life is Numerology, where I give you the information of the single digits with the correspondences of colors and planets and gemstones and things. I give you the master numbers, double digit zeros to double digit 99. I show you how to find a personal year. I show you how to find a universal year and month and cycles. I show you what the meaning of the birth date of the calendar from 1 to 31. I show you what the compound numbers are, 10 to 22, as well as taking you up all the way to 52, the most profound ones to look at. If you're interested in that PDF, it only costs $27. You need to hook yourself up, give me a call on my Skype number, 505-349-4722, or you can call my other Magic Jack number line connected to my computer, which is 505-717-4722. If you know my personal mobile number, then you can text me or call me. You're better off emailing me at either these 2 email addresses, iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com or iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com, to check my email at least about 3 to 4 times a day. Stuff coming in all the time. I can get back in touch with you, answer all your questions pertaining to tonight's show, or just replay it. Just replay the show. You'll see it up in YouTube shortly. Okay, it'll be there in the next 30 minutes. I'm getting ready to sign off the air. Next week, we're going to play around with some more numerology. Okay, I'm going to go over this a little bit more about the universal year number, and maybe what I'll do this time around, I'll march you through your personal year numbers so everybody knows what your personal year number will be like. during that show for next Thursday. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. Thank you for joining me today for Circle Grace 1 with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm here every Thursday normally at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for about 90-minute show. I'm glad that you could be here today. Again, if you wait about 30 minutes, you could see it in its entirety up again at YouTube, or just come right back in another 30 minutes and replay the show right here. Sorry for my sinus congestion. I'm detoxing here at the same time with this shift of the weather. I'll be here, and next Wednesday, I do plan to be on next Wednesday at 4 p.m., and I'm also going to talk about numerology there as well. We're going to talk about the universal year number. So if you like to listen in, if you're on the East Coast, it's 6 p.m. Central Time Zone, 5 p.m. This is for next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific for almost 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about numerology, the power of numbers. The key to life is numerology. That's what it's going to be about. That's at Blog Talk Radio, www.blogtalkradio.com/ circle-of-grace-1 in the age of remembrance. Alright, so next Wednesday, join me there for Internet Radio. You can listen through our studio number by dialing 347-677-0851. See, there's numbers again. That's for the Wednesday studio show number. You can call. I don't have time to answer questions over the phone. I just run the material out, but you can always come here, and if you have a free Ustream account, you could come and use the chat room, or just email me your questions. I'll be happy to give you an answer to assist you in studying numbers in your own life. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Remember also that my grace is your grace. Thank you. See you next time.